Right, so we live in this era of the prevailing narratives. Everybody's decided this is how we're supposed to feel about a thing, and anybody that has a different point of view is going to get smoked for it. And you see it happen an awful lot when somebody has the courage to stand up against a gross injustice. I call it the prevailing narrative, but I'm being polite. It's a pile-on. And history teaches us that often those involved in the pile-on are on the wrong side of it. I think about that a lot today because you see what happens to people when they speak out against the injustices happening in the world right now. Not as many are speaking out as some would hope, and that's because the fear of what will happen to them, especially if you're an artist, because throughout history we have seen that happen. To think an awful lot about what happened to one of the most impactful and important artists of our time. She decided to take on an institution that had committed heinous crimes against children. Seems like the right position to take, except the mainstream, the media, other members of her field absolutely attacked her. Very few in the public eye actually stood up and defended her position. She was so powerful, she was so interesting, but really the power was the vulnerability and the strength inside her voice. She could destroy you and rebuild you at exactly the same time. And it's important to remember that when she did that, she was so young. We lost her just over a year ago. And if you remember the outpouring in the aftermath of her passing, there was so much revisionist history taking place. Those who attacked her gleefully were suddenly lauding her for what she did. And listen, we have to keep open hearts and open minds, and people can come to the right side when they come to the right side. Although I think a lot of them are just doing that in some version of reputation laundering. But never forget, when somebody young has a platform and feels compelled to fight injustice, that history has taught us that often they're right. I think an awful lot about Sinéad O'Connor and what happened to her, and just how lucky we were to have her when we did.